Finally, we've got some proper weather. It's Sunday. Perfect day to hop on the motorcycle and go for a relaxed ride. So today, I'm inviting you to join me on one of my first rides this year. I'll tell you a bit about myself, about the motorcycle itself, and I'll also try, for the first time, to include the sound of the ride. So if that sounds interesting, grab your helmet and let's go. But before we start riding, I'd like to tell you a few things about this motorcycle because in my first videos I didn't really share much about it. As you can see, it's still dirty, dusty. I haven't washed it yet after its long winter break. I bought the bike around October or November last year. That's the first thing I wanted to share. I got it from the Triumph dealership in Roswell, and by the way, I'll highly recommend it. Great customer service, good vibe. So if you're looking for a Triumph dealership, check out the one near the airport in Rockwolf. I definitely recommend it. Since I bought the bike just as winter was kicking in, I only had the chance to ride it home from the dealership. My sons jumped on it right away. Not to ride, of course, just to sit and play around a bit. Then I took it to my company warehouse, where it stayed the entire winter. There's a little story connected to that break. Oh, I'll share it with you in this video too. Nothing happened to the bike itself, don't worry, but something else did come up. And now that we're almost in May, today's the 28th or 29th of April, the bike has barely moved since that day. We've had a few warmer days lately, but I didn't have the time to go riding, so right now this motorcycle has only about 60 to 65 kilometers on the clock, almost nothing. That means it's basically brand new, and I'm also just getting started again after years away. As I mentioned in my first video, this is a new beginning for me. My previous experience with motorcycles doesn't really count anymore. It's time to relearn everything from scratch. So let's get on the bike, and I'll try to tell you a few stories about what's happened with this bike so far and what my first impressions are. Let's start with what the manufacturer says about the Triumph Trident 660. First of all, it's powered by a 660cc three-cylinder engine. It features a TFT display, full LED lighting, two riding modes, ABS, and traction control, all for added safety and better control. I'm telling you this because I want to share my own story, why I chose this particular motorcycle. But before we dive into that, just a quick disclaimer. I'm recording this voiceover after the ride on my computer. Unfortunately, I still don't have a new helmet, and I'll talk more about that in this video too. Because of that, I also don't have a headset that would let me record audio while riding. So I apologize for the audio quality. I'll try to get proper equipment soon so I can improve the quality of future videos. Now, since this is only my second vlog and we're still getting to know each other, I'd like to share a bit about myself and my story woven into the process of buying the Trident. As I mentioned in the first video, this is my second bike. The first one I had was a Suzuki SV650, which I bought about 8 years ago. I rode it for maybe one season, maybe two, and then for various reasons I had to put motorcycling on hold. Since then, I've become a father of two. But even so, I never stopped thinking about motorcycles. Eventually, I made the decision to come back, and just like many people returning to riding, I faced a big question. Should I buy a brand new bike or go with something used? That choice wasn't easy for me either. At first, I thought, I'll buy a used bike and customize it because I wanted something unique, something that would reflect my own style and personality. But then I looked at my kids and thought, maybe it's better to put safety first. Of course, motorcycle safety is a huge topic, and to be honest, technology has changed a lot in the last 15 years. Modern bikes, especially brand new or a few years old, are miles ahead of the older ones. That made me reconsider. Maybe a customized classic can wait, and for now, it's better to go with something newer. There was also the option of leasing since I run my own business and I can lease the bike through the company. If you're interested in how much leasing costs for a Trident 660, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to break it down for you in a separate video. Back to the story, I decided to look into newer bikes and check what kind of safety systems they offer. And as you probably know, modern motorcycles come with ABS, traction control, and plenty of other smart systems that can really make a difference, especially when you're starting out. So I thought I'll go for a new bike, or maybe one that's only 2 to 3 years old. That's when the Triumph Trident 660 caught my eye. Now, I mentioned this earlier. I like having something that stands out, something a bit different from what everyone else is riding. For me, Triumph has always been a bit of an underdog brand. You don't see them everywhere on the streets, especially the Trident, and that was part of the appeal. It's still a bit uncommon, which makes it unique. I also knew that after my experience with the SV650, I wanted a more upright riding position, something more comfortable. I'm about 175 centimeters tall, so I was looking for a bike that wasn't too big, one where I could comfortably reach the ground with both feet, or at least almost. So I went to a motorcycle expo in Rokov, and besides the Trident, I also checked out a few other bikes. Yamaha MT-07, of course. I didn't do my license on it, but a lot of people do. It looks great and is really popular. I also looked at the new Suzuki SV650, a model I already knew. Ducati Monster, that one really tempted me too. It's stylish, aggressive, and stands out, and I seriously considered a used Harley Davidson Sportster 883. Harley is still on my mind, but for now, it didn't meet my goals. It's an older bike without the safety systems I was looking for. Not as refined, not as current. The Ducati Monster also got dropped, mainly because of the price. New ones start at around 55,000 Polish zloty. And after such a long break from riding, I wasn't sure if I'd even have time to ride regularly. What if I ended up selling it after just one season? So the Ducati was out. The SV650, too familiar. The MT7, very tempting, but too common, and it lacked some of the features the Trident offered. So in the end, I went with the Triumph Trident 660. So, what are my first impressions of riding the Trident? First of all, I haven't ridden it much yet, not enough to give you a full review, but there are a few things I can already share. After 6 years off a motorcycle, I had only two short test rides on other bikes before I bought the Trident. Then I picked it up from the dealership. To be honest, I wasn't feeling my best physically that day. And yet, after 6 years of not riding, I jumped on the Trident, took off, and made it home without any problems. That first ride and the few short ones that followed, including this one you're watching now, they all left me with the same feeling. Not once did I feel uncomfortable, unsteady, or unsafe. And I think that's a big deal because after such a long break, it honestly feels like you're learning to ride all over again, almost like being back in your license training course. I'll admit, I had some doubts about the three-cylinder engine, but now I can say I'm very positively surprised. It's smooth and pleasant to ride, both at low RPMs and higher revs. There are no harsh vibrations at low speeds, which is perfect for city riding, and at higher speeds, it doesn't feel aggressive or unpredictable, which means more confidence and control. For me personally, that's exactly what I wanted, since I mainly plan to ride around Wrocław and have already done my first kilometers in the city. I can tell you this. Even on my very first city ride, I felt confident enough to filter between cars in traffic. From the first moment, the Trident felt light, agile, and very easy to maneuver. There was no hesitation, no fear of whether I'd fit between cars or if I'd handle the situation. It all felt natural, and that's something worth highlighting, especially for anyone who's just starting out. So, if you're looking for a beginner friendly motorcycle that's easy to ride and confidence inspiring, I think the Trident 660 is a great choice. The only thing that bothers me a little is the wind at higher speeds, especially once you go over 90 kilometers per hour. But that's not a complaint about the Trident itself. That's just how naked bikes are. Maybe in the future I'll install a small windscreen to make those higher speed rides more comfortable. But honestly, since I'll mostly be riding around the city, I don't think I'll be hitting those speeds very often. So we'll see if it's even necessary. And yes, I know, that pole on the left side of the screen is super annoying. Don't worry, it won't be in the next video. So today's ride, my first proper ride this season, around 20 kilometers, on the Triumph Trident 660 is slowly coming to an end, and so is this vlog. While editing the audio for this video, I realized I still have a lot to work on, especially when it comes to audio equipment. I need to buy the right microphones, but remember, this is just the beginning, the start of my journey, and hopefully yours too. I'm planning lots of upgrades and purchases. One of the first things on my list, a new helmet. The one I'm using now is the same one I bought years ago, back when I had my SV650. It's about 8 years old, and as you probably know, helmet tech has come a long way since then, so I'll need to get something more modern. When the time comes, I'll definitely ask you for advice, and once I make the choice, I'll tell you which helmet I picked and why. I really hope I can find one with a built-in intercom system because I really need it, and it would drastically improve the sound quality of future videos. Unfortunately, the next vlog will likely be delayed by about a week. The May long weekend is coming up, and I'll be taking a trip with my kids by car this time, so I won't be able to ride or film for a few days. That's why I encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you'll get notified as soon as a new video drops. Thanks so much for spending your time with me today. And don't forget to leave a like. It really motivates me to keep filming and making more vlogs for you. For now, I wish you an awesome May weekend. Enjoy the final shots from today's ride, and see you again very soon.